Good, good morning. Welcome to this virtual coffee sessions. I'm alone today. The people who started the show are not here. So by default, I become the presenter, the thinker, the talker, when that should not be the case. We have a group called Towards Media Excellence, but invariably people want to talk in WhatsApp groups. Most people don't want to share. They want to talk in smaller groups where they can prevail in what they think is privacy. So this is a public matter involving the government of Zimbabwe versus Hopewell Chingono, Jacob Ngaruvume, Job Sikala, and many others who find themselves guilty of a crime that some people may not even recognize: intention to incite violence. First, you must have the intent. Then the second, that intent must be aimed at violence, which is a break from the law and order promised in the Constitution. Who is there to tell the story? And who tells this story anyway? Good morning, Cindy. How many of us look up to others to tell a better story than we can tell ourselves? How many would defer to others to say exactly what they want to say, but for some reason they can't say it? How many would want to thrive in the WhatsApp groups and the smaller groups and say anything about things they have no knowledge of? So if I was a journalist, how would I unpack this story, the bigger story? In Hopewell's mind, he was fighting for a better Zimbabwe. That Zimbabwe that he thought would be obtainable, realizable, was a Zimbabwe free of corruption. So he starts his journey from an idea that there's a general acceptance that corruption is a cancer, and the removal of corruption would be in the public interest. He then pursues his mission, assuming that everybody is on board, including people in government. Scores some successes, and after success, he then proceeds to say, if this corruption exists and the people elected to mitigate it are blind to it, then the next thing ought to be a change of administration, one in which corruption is at the center stage, and then this calls for action, mass action, citizen participation. Then he then proceeds to say, if not me, then who? If I know more than everybody else about this problem, and I have examples that confirm that corruption has got a circumference. In the circumference are powerful people who knowingly or unknowingly are associated with conduct that is unbecoming of a public office bearer. So that then proceeds into a coalition of people who share the same interest, the same idea that no government actor draws legitimacy from undermining the very constitution that they took an oath to promote and protect. Then, on the government side, what is the view? So if you are there in a group that I'm part of towards media excellence, and I've tried to impress upon citizen journalists who write and write and write in these WhatsApp groups to say, let's have a battle of ideas. One idea talks of one side, another idea talks of another side, so that the public can judge for their own. I've tried to set out right now the idea that says a citizen is entitled in a constitutional democracy to protest against any abuse of public power, because public power belongs to the people. Public funds belong to the people. No one, no citizen owns the government. If we agree to that, then active citizenship has no mask, has no border, has no boundary. Citizenship is open, must be open for any one citizen to step forward and say, not in my name. And at any second, any minute, the government is accountable to the people. So people are entitled to register their concern. If you are demonstrating in terms of the Constitution, then the public office bearers must be there to promote and protect you. That's what should be the case in any constitutional democracy. So there is another side, and that side needs motivation, and it's in the courts, it's in the public. And people are saying, don't all Zimbabweans ought to be used, or your motions to be trained on cheap politicking stories. There are irregularities in Hopewell case. That's right. So you would then be in that group, Signor, to put the irregularities on behalf of the state. So it's state versus Hopewell. Then somebody will be able to put Hopewell's case so that we have a balanced discussion. And we give time to you, give time to the other party, and then let the people judge. That's not what is happening in my WhatsApp group. On the contrary, there are people who take the view that what they know is the universe of what is to be known. So they tell their story without showing the other side. So in a sense, other people get dwarfed, get crowded out, and they have their own reservations, but they can't say so for fear of being labeled sellout, puppet, a bad apple, whatever it is, on both sides. So in a polarized environment, how do you get to the media excellence that we talk about, whether it's citizen-driven or whether it's professional-driven? At the end of the day, we must be informed. We must be educated. Who is the owner of Zimbabwe, Mr. Mtuma? It's you and me. That's why we need to talk about this. We need to tell the story, because Zimbabwe belongs to all who live in it. And those who are in Zimbabwe have a say, but we can help shape and define the personality and character of this Zimbabwean. There are many Zimbabweans who are too quiet, who can't structure arguments, who can't organize themselves into structured arguments before anyone goes on the street, so that the arguments are clear. What is corruption? Who is going to tell the story? Somebody must tell it as it is. Who is corrupt? Somebody must tell it as it is, with facts, and not with facts tainted with political sugar or salt or poison. Let's tell the story. Is there corruption? And what is corruption? Is there a shared understanding of what corruption is and is not? How do we build a society without shared understanding? Why would one be sent to maximum prison without being charged, leg irons, denied bail? They take it as a state of emergency. There's one view which says this is driven by external people to unseat a constitutionally elected government, and therefore we must use any means necessary. Like what was argued, Mai Mugabe, the former first lady, had actually hijacked public power, hijacked her husband, and that required the army to be involved. You may not agree with it, but there are people who put that argument and asserted it and went to court, and the court ruled in their favor. So the issue of what constitutes a state of emergency is a disputed one, my opinion. So your view must be heard. You must advance a motion that no, this is not correct. There are other people who have been given bail. What is bail in a constitutional state? What is the presumption of innocence in a constitutional state? Advance that argument so that we hear the opposite argument. Somebody may present an alternative argument. And that's what I'm trying to do here, to promote a school of journalism where people tell facts as they are and tell stories as they are, not as they should be. Not with a view to doing anything beyond telling the story. The people are not stupid. They're smart to be able to pick up what are the key issues in the argument or in the cause. So I set up this group a few months ago called Towards Media Excellence, expecting journalists to take the next step and say, yes, it's our profession that is under fire. We ought to respond and be able to call a spade, and be able to say what needs to happen in Zimbabwe. What are the stories that we are missing by being divided on partisan grounds? Should somebody spend a day, an hour in prison, untried, allegations untested, or this is being done because of what we are saying and we are the ones fueling this abuse of public power? Who is it that would want their own public office bearers to deny you freedom for fighting for the just cause that Zimbabweans deserve? But how many journalists stand out? If you look in the skies at midnight, who are the shining stars who can tell it as it is? Who can inform, educate, entertain you without having to take sides of a story? But we can't say state of emergency for supporting the government, say they are rooting out corruption. But my opinion, that's your view. And I agree with your view. But you must come forward and present that argument. But we can't say the we is not universal. There are people in government who are afraid of a demonstration because things are not well. This happens in domestic disputes, happens everywhere, that people are afraid to argue. And why are you not coming forward to present the view, the alternative view? But arresting someone who is trying to root out corruption is pathetic. They are not saying that. They are saying they want to uproot a government of the people. People are scared of being murdered. Yes, let's talk about fear. What am I saying for me to be afraid of being murdered? Because you already are saying that these people, Hopewell, it's a fact that you are trying to root out corruption, according to you. But accept that your view is not the view of everybody. There are people who are saying if there's corruption in the opposition, Hopewell will not talk about it. If there's a corruption in relation to other people, he would easily ignore. So there is a divided opinion. What you may say is straightforward to you need not be straightforward. Isn't it time, my opinion, for people to start listening to each other and not talk to each other? And government is then used as a weapon to then intimidate everybody else from saying that which they must say. If they have to say something, it must be in any constitution that a citizen has a right. You don't have to be a journalist. You don't have to be anything else, just to be active to say there is something wrong here. If meat is smelling, it's smelling for everybody. If there's something wrong in Zimbabwe, there's something wrong for everybody. Basa, if it's biased. Yes, Kathy, it's biased because opinion of human beings is always self-centered. I can look at a glass and see it's half full. Another may look at it and say it's half empty. There are many Zimbabweans who are persecuted from standing defending the gains, values, principles of the liberation struggle, for fighting corruption and for justice to prevail. I'm a case study, I'm not waffling. What's the attraction on Hopewell? Akauya Zuro. That's one view, Signor. Let's talk about it. You will talk about what you want. So as government, they always talk about opposition. Government should understand that vakapedza kuuraya vanhu vogotungamirira ani vakapedza kuuraya. That's your view, my opinion. This group that I belong to is towards media excellence in a divided community, in a divided society. Obviously, we don't have to hold the same views, but let the views find expression. Let us have a battle of ideas without battling anybody, without fighting anybody. Isn't that fair? My opinion. Isn't that fair? But where are we organized to tell the story so that each side can have their side to tell the story? I'm here just to provoke you to think and pause that what you know to be right need not be right to somebody else. Allow for that second person to have the right to say not in my name. Either way, Signor has given his own view. That what is so special about one man called Hopewell Chingono? Is it celebrity victimhood? He would ask. Or is victimhood? And why don't we talk to that? Who listened to that story? Is the question. I'm listening to you. I want to hear your voice, but I don't want to hear your voice alone, my opinion. I want to hear your voice with somebody else in a structured, organized manner so that you are given 5 minutes, the other side is given 5 minutes, then we close the show. But right now, I'm talking alone because every time I advertise, people don't want to hear. They want to hear one side of the story. They want to see one side of the coin. Are you one of them, my opinion? Do you want a coin to have one side and the other side you condemn it? And then somebody else condemns the side that you think is important. Where do we start to tell the story? Where do we start to improve our communication, to hear each other? And that's what I'm provoking you. I'm not saying that there are people who don't listen. But even if dogs are structured, people will listen to the barking. But if you bark at the same time, who has the obligation to listen? What is the role of the media? What is the role of the professionals to distinguish themselves from those who are not professional? Why get a certification? Why become a member of an association of journalists and you can promote your craft? You can defend your craft. Some people are saying Hopewell is not a journalist. He was not arrested as a journalist. He was now an activist who had crossed over to where there are no rules of journalism. So how do we respond to that? What is the main story? Is it citizens are not allowed to voice, or citizens are allowed to voice in terms of the four corners of the Constitution and the law? Some people are saying they are the best placed to protect and promote the rule of law because they've taken an oath to do so. So they'll punish you in the name of the same government that you think is undermining the rule of law. So where shall we go? We cannot, because of fear. The moment one says negative about government, you call bad apple enemy. But you are going back, my Peniel. I'm here with you to talk about a satirical show where you present the arguments or the mind of Hopewell. Assume you were Hopewell. In his mind, what is he saying? Mutuma, you are a grown-up man. Chakaita kuti vanhu vaende kuhondo. I don't know. Let's talk about it. You are already calling me names that I'm grown up, as if this conversation is for kids or grown-ups. So you may be grown-up, Shepherd, but let your arguments distinguish themselves by saying something, but not by pointing a finger at me. If the people who went to the war are here, why don't they come forward to say they went to the war to produce an ecosystem where freedom is negotiable, where somebody decides who should be free, who should not be free, where my presumption of innocence is taken away because of what I am alleged to intend to do. I intend to kill you. Then I go to prison because I have incited, I have tweeted, I have said something on this show, and then somebody takes it up and say, yes, because you said it, then you must suffer the consequences of speaking your mind. What kind of system did they go to war for? What were they fighting for? They must come forward and explain, and let journalists, citizens as well, tell it is that we went to the war to become stockholders, so that those who didn't go to the war have no rights. And the Constitution must be amended to provide for an apartheid state where it's them and the rest. We don't have that Constitution. The Constitution is neutral. We are all presumed to be equal before that law. What would make other people qualify for bail? Other people not qualify for bail. Why can't we talk about that? We're not talking about Hopewell. He's not the only one to have spent time on remand. There are many other case studies that are there where people have languished on remand. It's not just in Zimbabwe. When are we going to have justice reform so that this never happens again? If the state is not ready to prosecute you, why keep you? Why take your freedom? These are bigger issues that need to be told, not with a poison knife. No, just as it is. Where are we going to get that? You're not fighting anybody. But surely if you went to the struggle and you wanted Zimbabwe to be what Ian Smith and his crew was doing, what the whole previous administrations were doing, then say so. But Shepherd, don't call me grown up. If my arguments are childish, pick the argument, talk to the argument. Can we shift focus? We're doing to chase cheap stories in the expense of the bigger stories, economic revivals. There's no substance in Hopewell Story. We cannot be held at ransom, mind captured by this capitalist system of oppression. This is a guerrilla tactic kind of politics. Maziso. Monsignor, are you hearing what I'm saying, or you are hearing yourself? I am not saying that you should not say something. What I'm saying is the focus for me is to hear both sides. A coin has two sides. Often I hear one side, one monologue. ndizvo zvatiri kuda kunzwa kubva kune vanoti vakarwa hondo, kuti vatiudze kuti isu taive tisati takura hatina right of freedom here until tabatwawo pfuti. Shepherd, how do we bring those people when we have not requested so? Let's hear those who make the argument that they are war veterans. Let's hear them. Let's hear them. Let's structure ourselves. We say towards media excellence. Do you think we can have media excellence with only professional journalists? No. Citizens can be able to sharpen the eyes of the people who call themselves professionals, but they do unprofessional work. They don't get to inform you. Why would somebody 40 years later seek to assert an argument that they went to the struggle to fight for somebody when the Constitution does not have that provision? We are all created equal. Why would you have a Bill of Rights? Yet some people believe they have more rights than others. Where in the Constitution is there a term called leader? Why lead me when I can lead myself? Signora said, Mawere, maybe he's calling me something. Okay, Kathy, that's my concern. Justice not prevailing. Is there no way the opposition can talk with the ruling party on the matter? Because this is undemocratic for the government to infringe and violate human rights. But who are you, Kathy? Why not step forward? That's why we set up this radio station, so that you can present your views. That's what is democracy. What is expected of a government in a democratic dispensation? What is the Bill of Rights? Where is that conversation taking place? There are some in government who believe that government is a person. It has more rights than citizens. And if you stray away, they have a right to bring you back where they must bring you back. So that is the argument. There are too many voices cluttered, and we think it's opposition who should say something. Okay, if in case there's due reason for anyone to be held in custody pending trial, the condition in jail need to be humane. Why should you be in custody when you have not been tried? If there's no risk that you're going to run away, there's no flight risk. Somebody must prove. And if it's interference, why should it be academic? Let it be proved in a court of law that I've interfered and therefore I forfeited my right to be free. But you can't anticipate that I'm going to influence witnesses. Being in custody must not be like a death sentence, no matter who is in custody. That's another issue. What should be the conditions in prison? They will argue that the opposition has caused the conditions to deteriorate through sanctions. There are many people who not take responsibility for the state of affairs, choosing to point their finger at others. Darlington Mashoko, remand must be reserved for cases where there is real prospect of a conviction. Denial of bail is done so that a suspect at least serves a sentence by default, even though they may eventually be acquitted. And the courts undermining the principle of innocence until guilty. Let's discuss that. That's an issue, darling. That's a serious one. Not just for Hopewell or Jacob or Scala or the famous people that we talk about here. No, we're just using Hopewell to bring out a case forward so that we can have a balanced argument. Why place somebody on remand when the state itself has not formulated a charge? It's not ready for trial. Imagine they become ready in 5 years. You are there waiting for trial. What kind of inhumanity is that? Let's discuss that openly so that the story is told, that inside the story of intention to incite violence, then there is another bigger story about constitutionalism, rule of law. Why presume me to be innocent? And by default, judges, magistrates act as if I don't have a right to be free. Okay, Senor, are you hearing myself, Mawere? I don't think so. You have just confirmed it. I can hear you loud and clear. That's why you have your own angle version of Story of Zimbabwe. It will work, but it won't work. Fine, I don't have I don't have a version. And all I'm saying is I want people to have their own version. And I'm just provocateering here. I don't have a version. I don't need a version. But the people on the ground, they need to rethink and relearn. Government, Eustace, government don't have rights more than citizens, but then again, they have power over citizens. Unfortunately, it's a global thing. No, government is us. Eustace, let's have an honest conversation. How to tell the story and the stories within the story. How best can we tell it? Eustace, you must have a view. Take a view. If it's not yours, take a view of government. Present it so that we find somebody to present. Then we find a neutral chair who is going to hear both sides and cross-examine them. And then we come up with reasonable assessment. And we share it widely that this is what Eustace said and thinks. Why are trying to do so on one is this, where so many of us are advocating and trying to lobby those who have been influenced by social media. Anyway, we are trying to do so. That's what I'm saying. Let's all be organized. Organized people have power to change things. And organized people who talk at each other will never have the power that they have already as individuals. You got the mind, you got the power of free will. You are here and you are sharing your ideas. Let's have a structured argument. Let's deal with those structures. Mawere and fellow Zimbabweans here present in and Mereri Penga, ask Pastor Chwenga, he can tell you better who I am. I don't know why anditi zvekunda musarira kana kuri kudyiswa kana maZimbabweans gezai kumeso rutsi burai maziso. I don't know what Senior is talking about. I know nobody's saying no penga or whatever, but all we're saying is, can't we find a cause to organize our thought processes so that Senior, you have your view, let others have a different view. Let's ask ye those views. True guerrilla war tactics, women being raped, people being abducted. I believe the judges have on vendetta. One of the judges, magistrate, was on the corruption list of those who borrowed money. Government did not pay back. So Netsai, you already also say convicting people without giving them an opportunity. Let the arguments come forward. Let's do the terrorist job. Let's be listeners. Both the opposition, both the opposition and the ruling party have bastardized our justice system by bringing their protracted political context into the court. It is undeniable for the opposition to continue to contest the legitimacy of the winning party. ZANU also takes opportunity to destroy their opponent through the court. All these are artificial. Gotozo, I said, don't you find there's a need for us to talk to these issues? There are no easy answers. There are many people who have been waiting for a change of mind and mindsets in government. There are many people who have been waiting for a change of minds and mindsets in the so-called opposition. Where does the citizen lie? Let the citizen judge the two arguments. Let's have MDC versus ZANU-PF, but which MDC? Let us define which MDC. Let's us have arguments. Let's make fun out of this. Let's just not be too serious about things that are not argued by us. If we are serious, we'll start organizing ourselves to present arguments that are compelling, so that even if the magistrate hears, he can look himself in the mirror and say, what am I doing here? Right now, they take advantage of this confusion. One says Hopewell is a saint, another says he's a villain. And what follows? There are two stories of the same person. One says he's a villain. One says he's a saint. Where to go then? The judge says, I am trying somebody. Thank you. If you don't have no vision, don't be threatened by the voices and views too. I'm not threatened because I don't work for government. Tali Shingwena says, Ramtuma Mnebasa ere, and Nebasa newe, Dalia, you are my problem. You come here to ask when you could just ignore me. If I've given up my hour to promote dialogue, and you are saying that promotion, that the absence of dialogue needs to continue to throw stones at each other, what are you saying? If I was looking for a job, I would be looking for a job, Dalia. But here, I am pained that I have tried to be a voice in WhatsApp groups, and what I see is toxic. It's not in the courtroom. It's not in the corridors of government. People are divided, and sometimes without reason. Ignorance divides us, and we celebrate ignorance. None of us is willing to say, no, enough is enough. Let us take ownership of the issues. What is the Bill of Rights? What is a president? What is a journalist? What is a lawyer? There are many lawyers who behave as if they are not lawyers, discouraging others from becoming lawyers. Only a few who earn money as lawyers. The rest will not earn money because they can't be what others can get away with as lawyers. There are lawyers who are no longer practicing law, who are fueling disputes, who are fueling arguments, who write long pieces only to divide people. They can't even write a short piece to find a reason for people to talk to each other. Arnold Adams, truth is a criminal offense in Zimbabwe. Boys, what is truth to you, Arnold Adams? May not be true to somebody else. Accept that your eyes are your eyes. Allow others to use their eyes to look at the same thing. They may not call it truth. They may call it subversion. They may call it terrorism. And you think you are a saint. How many people called Mandela and Mugabe, Kaunda, and all these people terrorists? Only to salute them when they became president. So who am I to judge what the truth is? Argue, present your truth, and tell me where is the truth. There are many people who would tell the story differently from how you would tell the same story, the same facts, the same events, the same accident. Who is the complainant in Hopewell's case? It is the state. It is the government that is complaining that what you are doing is causing disorder, lawlessness. So there are people who perceive that Hopewell's intentions are not bona fide. They are malafide. He's there to destroy. That's what other people use their eyes for. Morning, Sheltron, morning. So I have said enough for the day. I hope you have understood if you have any comments, you think this conversation was useful, has provoked you to find your own voice in a structured manner, you can always say yes or no. Because I'm not here to be liked or disliked. It's not my job. I hope you can add your voice. If you think it's useful to talk about this, please say so by just typing yes, so that we find others to speak to an issue. Our opinions are different. There's freedom of speech, and let's express our views, but let's obey our laws. Simple. That's a lie. Some people say the laws are unjust. The judges are captured. The system is rotten. And the outcome is bad. Kathy says, let's go ahead. Kathy says she's interested in this conversation. Do you want to be part of this helping structure? People say the only power, people who don't have the power, is the power to organize. Do you agree? Not to agonize. We can't be united in our organization. So now you are saying, we are not saying unopenga well. Zvaibuda ku makuvotomoka makuwa enyu kuma inbox. Never judge a book by its page. Don't underestimate someone and use bits and pieces of my information and make me a topic. Always, if you are honest in your everyday story, my way is stop dictating the pace. Tell the story of your own life and practices to say, I allow me to tell the story of facts are stubborn. One day is one day. I don't know what you're talking about, but if there's an issue where you believe that there is organization, my platform where I'm speaking is not organized. And I lament every day that can't we organize outside this so that we don't end up arguing as if I have a view. Let's have structured views. Those who are for emotion and those who are against it. If you want the rule of law, let's talk to it. If we want the issue of the charge, the refusal of bail, let's discuss that as a subject. Let's have views on that. Then we know that you stand for this argument only, without being disagreeable. I have no problem with your argument, Senor. I've told you before that let us be the reason to organize, not agonize. I have been listening to you. So it's not you, but I, on my own, I feel there's something that can be done. If I can be the voice to provoke, inspire, ignite a different way of organizing thought, expressing it in a structured way, so that those who pretend not to hear can hear. Those in government, those outside government can change their ways so that we don't sacrifice lives because of arguments. Who is right, who is wrong? What if the person who is wrong is ignorant that they are wrong? We have a big fish to fry. Kathy said, fry it. Then cut a piece for me. But you may spend 40 years trying to seek a big fish. When you find it, you remove it to find a bigger fish waiting for you, to eat you, to harass you, to intimidate you. So please learn from history of human civilization that you are sovereign, Kathy. Never wait, target somebody except yourself. Be the change you want to see. It will happen. Lead by example. Talk to issues. Don't talk to people. Those people are human as you are. They will fight you with all they got. Elias Basopo, you are on point today, Elder. You deserve my respect. This is a good topic. Let's discuss. Gatonesane nokuti unogona kutoparawo mosva mushure mekunge watadzirwa. So let's have a sober discussion all the time. Thank you, Elias. I hope every time I speak, you are saying, I'm not on point. But if today you say on point, I'm encouraged that at least you see the point. Then all of us can see the point. Not my point. My point is not saying that one is wrong, one is right. No. The majority must decide, but let's share our thoughts in a structured manner so that the person can follow the argument rather than follow the person. And Elias says nothing, which means I was not on point all the time. So thanks for waking up to this day. So I hope, Elias, you agree to be part of the change. Let's not continue to argue as if arguments will produce the change, as if words will produce the change. But if education can change outlooks, can change lifestyles, can change perspectives, paradigms, why can't we use what we have to demonstrate that they are professionals who are better communicators? But what if the professionals behave as if they are unprofessional? Then where do you go for wisdom? For the rule of law? Who stands out there? You go to MDC, they are fighting. You go to ZANU-PF, they are fighting, firing each other every day, removing each other. What is happening in WhatsApp groups? Admins are removing others. Some are dictators in the WhatsApp groups. Some would want their voices only to be heard. On Twitter, how many would insult you for just giving an alternative view about the same thing? How many are intolerant of any other view except the views they have? Don't you see? The problem is bigger than what we think. It's not just in the corridors of political power or public power. It's in our minds. It's in our actions. How many people say you deserve it? You deserve to be punished. How many speak without facts and want to create facts in their own minds? When are we going to wake up and sing Amazing Grace? I was once blind and I can see. I am not here as an antagonist, Mawere, but I will be shy to stop correcting what I believe is wrong. I will not allow. That's not only my constitutional obligation, but it's my calling. Yes, you got every right to host a show. Even attack me for who I am to you. That's why I'm in this revolution, to check all suspicious dark spots. Don't be in life to be a judge, Signor. Who will judge you if you are the judge? Without any political affiliation. Too many fake influencers in the whole Zimbabwean saga. So if you are not fake, host a show and speak to yourself. I'm not here to fight you, to argue with you, but you seem to have something to come every time. All I'm saying is, let's get organized. I'll be watching you, but allow others to have their own voices. This show is only about provoking, not about providing solutions. I am not here to tell you what I don't know, but I'm here just to offer my common sense, reason, and logic, that if we speak at the same time, the voices will be dissipated. Those who want change, those who want to abuse our voices, will do so because we already abused ourselves. Go to WhatsApp groups and see which group has order, structure. Just to elect one president to speak on our behalf, one spokesperson to speak on our behalf, and say, these are the views that were expressed in my group. This is the text, this is the thread, without fear or favor. How many don't want even to be quoted? How many want to tell you a secret, but privately, they are all over? How many are President Mnangagwa's cabinet who speak privately as if they are not in the cabinet? How many are gossiping about their future? So how can we continue like this? Then we come here. We then continue the same diatribe, the same hatred. I know it all. I'm here to supervise you. I'm a self-appointed judge. I'm a self-appointed prophet. Why don't the prophets look at COVID, its menace? Why are they not treating people? If they are true prophets, why avoid the difficult viruses of our time, the invisible ones? And yet the prophets can't see them. Yet they tell you that they see what you can't see. And we buy it. We believe it. Then you say, we are enlightened, civilized. Then what makes us different from animals that can bark, make noise, eat each other for lunch, make ourselves transactions, instead of transforming ourselves, not into a political party, into ideas that inspire, ideas that speak to aspirational people who want tomorrow to be better than today. Why can't we just do that? Today we're 30-something, and tomorrow we'll be 40. Because of you, those who have listened here, who then organize themselves to say, let's heed the call to organize, not agonize. Hashtag organize and not agonize. I didn't say that elder is like sometimes you come with boring topics, but this one is the best. And I like the way you address issues like Imuyamaka Itana Philip Changwa, Ashtaura Zokushanda. I admit we have a big problem in Zimbabwe, but let's discuss them. There's time for everything. This is time to work out about our beautiful Zimbabwe, not time to fight about politics, political issues. Chokwadi kuri sina chingwa patebo vanhu vakungotuka vakuchikora mutemo nehasha. That's something. You don't want to get organized. Ask for second opinion for those visionary and fearless, not those who are chokwadi with bootlicking mentality. Okay, you know better, and if you are the true organizer, don't speak about. Don't tell me. Just organize. I'll follow you. I even follow you to State House. I even vote for you, Signor. But not to use Facebook Live to start building arguments. Who knows what? Who knows better than another? Then what? Antagonize versus organizing, good terminology. So who is the judge? You decide whether you want to organize or agonize. I didn't say antagonize. Okay, let me finish with Fikile. Very true. In this time around, and Chada Soquitism, people are selfish. We want someone who have a strong vision, accept defeat, and believe in democracy. Saka, as Zimbabweans, we are really in a big problem. We want change, but at the same time, we want really those who too will not always go hand in hand. Munungai is a leader for the right reasons, not for fame. What is a leader, Kathy? Shouldn't we talk about what is a leader? There are many people who hallucinate about what leadership is. I heard someone calling himself leader addressing people of Zimbabwe yesterday. And he says leadership stupid, that we're all stupid, that we want to be led. You want me to be your leader? I'm not available to lead you, even on this Facebook. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be your leader. You are the leader yourself. Decide which side of the argument, decide which side of the mountain you want to climb on, the rough side or the smooth side. And what are you prepared to do about it? If you see some people are not seeing the world the way you see it, use arguments. Don't use weapons. Don't use fear to intimidate people into silence. Human spirit requires different things. Human spirit requires freedom. Let's work hard for our country. Elias, work hard for yourself. The country has no voice. Elias, you are the country. You are sovereign, Elias. Your choices are fine now. If you decide to wear a suit today, to listen to me today, it's your choice. It's sovereignty in motion. Let's not work hard for the country. Let's be ourselves in a country where I count, not in a country where I'm on my knees begging for somebody to give me freedom that I got not from government. There is nobody here who got freedom from government. Why should we beg to be free? Don't follow me, Mawere, and this Maisha Kananyama. So I won't comment on you. Okay. A leader will follow, not want to be followed. Will be told what to do. Do not tell people what to do. Yes, it's your country, you're sovereign. I can't tell you, Kathy, to listen to me. I can tell you to give up 1 second to listen to rubbish coming from me. You are here by choice. And that's I salute and celebrate you. Thank you very much. I'm done for today, but let's keep on talking. The future belongs to all of us. Thank you.